Last year in August, I fell on my face and I had a seizure. And when the paramedics came, they took me to the ER and they discovered a 5-centimeter brain tumor on the left side of my brain. Of course, I was in shock and my entire family was freaking out at that point. And when the doctors took all of the scans, they decided that that's precancerous and they needed to do brain surgery. So 5 days before my birthday, they did a brain surgery and they were preparing us for worst case scenario. So chemo, radiation, and I was thinking that I would probably gonna go bankrupt and everything else that comes of being a brain cancer patient. And my mom, who was living in New York at the time, she flew all the way from New York to California to take care of me. And I was in the hospital for about a month, and throughout that entire month, I was really focusing on my health. So I was familiar with Dr. Joe's work and I was doing his meditations, but I wasn't necessarily knowing the formula or the way that he's been teaching it throughout this week. And I was just really focusing on my mindset and I was focusing on being healthy and healed. So I was doing what he's teaching without even knowing it. I was raising my energy to the frequency of health, and then I was visualizing myself being completely healed. And everybody else around me was thinking that I was crazy because here I am laying in the hospital with a brain tumor and everybody is thinking that I have brain cancer and I'm just being happy. And I keep on focusing on being healthy. And throughout that entire experience, I was saying that I don't have cancer, I'm having a cancer experience. So I wasn't identifying myself with someone who has cancer. I was just seeing it as an experience. So I took myself away from the identity of a cancer patient and I was really focusing on the present moment. And I was focusing on the love and the connection that I was feeling from all of the people that were visiting me, sending me different love notes and really making me feel human and loved. And throughout my entire life, that's really what I desired. I desired to feel like I belong and that I'm loved. And here I received it, but it came in the form of brain cancer. So I wasn't freaking out, I was really focusing again on being healthy and healed. And I was in so much gratitude for all of the love and appreciation that I was feeling throughout the month that I was in the hospital. And after brain surgery, the doctors said that I may not be able to walk. And I didn't believe that. I was really focusing on being healthy and happy. So I taught myself how to walk again. And 2 weeks after the surgery, I started walking again. And to the surprise of everybody except myself, everybody was freaking out that it's impossible that after such an intensive surgery, I started walking again. And my mindset was still happy and focused on health. And then after I was discharged from the hospital, every single thing that followed, I wasn't affected by it. I was still in that energetic frequency of health. And I was still meditating twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. I was connecting to the energy of gratitude and I was connecting to my heart and I was feeling so much love. And then I was also visualizing myself walking on the beach. And I was sharing a lot online during that entire process. And I was sharing with people how if they have the ability to walk, to be able to go and watch the sunset, because that's all I'm seeing in my mind, to be able to walk in the grass, to see my feet in the grass, and then to be able to watch the sunset. And then the step further is I was imagining myself laying down in the grass and playing with puppies, like all of these little simple things. And I kept on sharing it with just the public, and people started sending me photos of themselves watching the sunset, photos of themselves with their dogs and their puppies. Because of that feedback that I was receiving and I was seeing visual images, I think that supported me as well. So I was combining the gratitude and the asking for support and then the receiving of the support. I was visualizing and living through these complete strangers, like people from all over the world were sending me photos of themselves with their feet in the grass. And I was connecting to that energy, and mentally I was there. I was seeing myself and I was feeling those elevated emotions of seeing my feet in the grass, seeing my feet in the water when I wasn't able to walk. And I think that supported me being able to walk. I think another big piece that I was noticing and seeing throughout that entire experience is how giving and receiving is one of the same. I really got to practice asking for support because I couldn't do anything. When I was in the hospital, I couldn't even wash myself. Like, that's how vulnerable state that I was in. And the food that the hospital was giving us was not nutritious. Well, it was to their standards, but not really if you want to be healthy and well. It's like far from it. So I got really good at asking for support. I was asking my friends to come in and bring me food. So they had a whole list of my favorite foods. So whenever somebody would be coming to visit me, they had like a whole group me going, and they would bring me my favorite food. Every single time I was able to receive it, I was able to see how much is giving to them as well. So in the community that I was in Encinitas in San Diego, the people who were supporting me, they were actually connecting themselves. So it created this beautiful network of friendships that otherwise they wouldn't have met even. And complete strangers would be coming to my hospital room, bringing me food and water. Complete strangers. One lady came in and she did my eyebrows. Another woman came in, she did Reiki on me. And that entire community created their own friendships and their own deep connections. So the whole idea of giving and receiving is one of the same. And then 2 weeks after I got discharged, all my scans came back clear. I no longer had cancer. The surgery was a complete success, and there was literally nothing else left in my brain scans. And everybody was in complete shock because, again, they were thinking that I would need extensive chemotherapy and radiation and everything else that follows with that. So without even knowing what the formula was, I was following Dr. Joe's teachings and really focusing on being the energetic match for what I saw myself in, and feeling really gratitude for everything else that I did have. And I was feeling love, and I was so connected to my heart that I was really attracting all that I desired. Yeah, I would say not to identify yourself as your illness or as your disease, and to see it as an experience. And connecting to the emotions that you're feeling. So if there's any stored emotions in your body that you haven't processed, that will usually manifest themselves as illness and disease. So instead of questioning why it's happening to me, you can dig deeper and try to understand, are there any emotions that you actually haven't processed? Do you have any anger or any resentment that you haven't processed towards somebody or even towards yourself from the past? And how can you connect deeper to that past self of yours or another person? And how can you forgive? So how can you drop in closer into your heart and find forgiveness for yourself, for other people, for other circumstances? And in regards to meditation, the way that I see it is, if you want to understand yourself and if you want to understand why things are happening, the fastest way is through meditation. So things are not happening to you, things are happening for you. And in order for you to understand that, you get to drop into your heart and you get to pause the outer world long enough for you to listen to your own heart and to listen to something that's higher and bigger than you. And everybody has that. You're not special enough that you don't have that connection. So if you pause long enough, then you can start to hear that voice that you've been ignoring.